So let me take you back to the very beginning. When I was 19 years old, I had a bad accident where I lost parts of my fingers. What I didn't know is that this accident would prevent me from following one of my biggest dreams, which was to become a United States Marine. I applied, I took the ASVAB, and I barely passed it. But I didn't care because all I wanted to do was be part of the infantry division. I wanted to be in the front lines. I wanted to fight. I wanted to be part of something bigger than what I thought I was at the moment. And I wanted to be something that represented good to many people. The issue is, MEPS didn't think I was qualified to go through the training because of the accident I had. Even though my therapist gave me a letter clearing me for any kind of exercise that I will be going through. I had countless months regaining the range of motion for my hand. I was in the best shape of my entire life, but MEPS did not care. I didn't get the opportunity. After an entire year passed, I thought to myself, maybe I'm not supposed to be a Marine right now. So I went on and I looked for what I was going to do next. I knew deep in my heart I still wanted to do something bigger than anything else. I wanted to be part of something that represented good. I wanted to be part of something that people looked up to. And what I thought about was becoming a law enforcement officer. I applied to all the police departments in the area. I applied to my state patrol, and one department gave me the opportunity, and I took that opportunity. I was young. I was only 20 years old. But in my mind, I knew that I could do whatever I wanted to do if I put my mind to it. 4 days after I turned 21, I graduated the police academy. There were 500 applicants. Only 30 of us got chosen. Only 22 of us graduated. So I beat the odds. I didn't have any educational background. All I had to my name was a GED and a will to be a good person. But what I didn't know is that I will be joining one of the most hated professions in the entire United States. The uniform that I thought people looked up to wasn't the uniform people looked up to. Everything was different. Nothing was like I thought it would be, but I still served like I was a United States Marine because I knew I was part of something bigger than what I could ever imagine, and I was going to do it the right way. My name is Mori Diaz, and this is my story.
Witnesses' cell phones recorded much of the chase. Along the way, police tell us the suspect stole at least 4 cars. Police helicopter watching the suspect's moves from the air. After a police pit maneuver, the suspect crashed, and the long chase finally reached the end of its trail.
All right. So now that you understand where everything began, let's talk about it. Why do I feel like law enforcement is the most hated profession in the United States, and in some instance, the world? No one likes to be told what to do. And that's where I'm thinking everything begins, okay? I'm not an expert, I'm not an analyst or anything like that. I just have my common sense, okay? So I'm gonna talk to you from my common sense. As you guys saw, I wanted to be in the military. Being in law enforcement was not my first option, but the whole purpose of me being in the military was to make a difference. So I joined law enforcement to make a difference. Now, as I said, no one likes to be told what to do. And unfortunately, that is what law enforcement officers are tasked to do every single day. We unfortunately have to tell people what to do. And a lot of people just don't like that. And unfortunately, that is something that's always going to just buck heads, okay? Because no one likes to be told what to do, and the job is to tell people what to do. All right, so that's where all of this, I believe, begins. No one likes to hear or do what someone else is telling them, especially a stranger. So let's put that in the back of our heads and leave that there. What I will say is, there are some officers that should not be wearing the badge. They should not be on the road. There's no reason why they should have even made it through the hiring process. But I believe some people are psychological liars and can honestly get through a hiring process quite easily, okay? So let's get that clear on the record. Not everybody is supposed to be a law enforcement officer. And I'm hoping that the ones that are not supposed to be in law enforcement can find out before it's too late that they should just get out, okay? Because the good officers like myself, and I'm not just bragging on myself or anything, because I feel like I was doing the best I could to make a difference in the community. Problem on the law enforcement side is that there are some officers that feel like they are untouchable, and that is bad. But on the citizen side, we already talked about people not wanting to do what other people tell them to do. And that is the issue on the citizen side, okay? And when you have those two situations clashing, and we have those officers that shouldn't be officers showing up on the news and being on the media because it's what sells, they're over there doing the wrong things and they get highlighted for it. The ones that get punished are the good officers. They're the only ones that get hurt out of all of this. The good officers are the ones being hurt. One of the worst things about being a content creator and being in law enforcement was not being able to talk what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to make videos about everything that was going on in the news so that I could talk about the good officers, that we are out here, that we were making a difference. But that couldn't happen because of the strict social media policies, the strict rules we had on being in uniform and being part of law enforcement and being out in the public. There's a lot that we can't say and can't do, and it's not because we're corrupt, it's because we will lose our job. And that's the third issue, that there's a perception that law enforcement don't speak up just because they don't want to, just because they're corrupt, just because they have to hide something. And that's not how it is. It's because of the strict social media guidelines that are put in place that won't allow them to talk, okay? And it's not that the police department is hiding anything either. It's because they're protecting an image. They're protecting a uniform. They're protecting what the integrity of being in law enforcement is all about, okay? So now that we've talked about all that, now I can paint you a better picture, okay? So in my situation, I wanted to be in the military, but obviously that couldn't happen, and I ended up being in law enforcement. I still treated law enforcement as if I would have made it into the military because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to change people's lives, and in some cases, I really did change some people's lives, okay? And I'm not going to go all into details because I have so many situations where I can share with you, but I don't want this video to get too long, okay? So think about the way that I ended up in law enforcement and then putting on the uniform every morning, not knowing if you're going to make it back home, and knowing that almost every person that looks at you or you drive by doesn't like you. Think about it. Think about responding to a call where probably no one wants you there, where when you get there, the victim doesn't want your help because they just don't like your badge. They don't like your uniform. In some cases, they will call you to help them, but they just don't like you. Imagine being hated just to be hated. Imagine someone not liking you just because they don't like what they saw on TV. And that's probably the worst part about this entire situation. And it's that no matter how kind you are, no matter what you do to change someone's life, no matter how many people you pull out of a rolled over car, no matter how many lives you change, at the end of the day, no one really likes you. And that is why I say that law enforcement is the most hated profession in the United States, or maybe even in the world. And I might be wrong. It might be something else. It might be a garbage collector for all I know. I don't know. I'm just sharing with you what a lot of officers feel like telling you, but they can't tell you because they're still wearing the uniform, okay? I'm no longer in law enforcement. I got out 2 years ago, but I did it for 8 years. And for those 8 years, from the very beginning to the very end, all I dealt with was insults and people being extremely rude to me because of the uniform that I wore, even though I would lay my life down for them in that very instant. And that is probably the worst feeling that I've ever felt in my life. And I can't imagine what it would have been like if I was in the military. Maybe none of this would have happened. Maybe I would have been appreciated more. But at the end of the day, I still feel like I made a difference. I feel like I joined a profession that actually changed lives. And at the end of the day, that is probably the best thing that I'll take with me from my 8 years in law enforcement. So what do I plan to do from now on? Well, I've been out of law enforcement for 2 years now, and my plan is to continue creating content here on YouTube because that is what I love to do. I love creating content. I love being able to create things that are in my mind. I want to be able to share it with you guys. And if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask in the comment section below. All right. And before you say anything offensive down in the comment section, please know that none of this is personal. This is only my perspective. I don't know what a cop 3,000 miles away from me did to hurt you. I'm sorry if they did. And I'm here to tell you that we're all in this together on Earth, and we need to find a way to join hands and be positive. All right. I hope every single one of you stay safe out there. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.